outreach for the George Bush White House, Paris Denard. Great to see you both. So, Angela, it might be unprecedented that the vice president has to break a tie for a cabinet nominee, but all signs, as you just heard from Manu, are pointing to she is getting the job. So why did Democrats stay up all night?
Well, and I think the reality of this opposition, Kate, is it was in some ways bipartisan. There are a number of people who don't think Betsy DeVos is qualified. I think there were so many of Trump's nominees who were challenged, right? Like they actually challenged our core values. And so folks had to determine where they were going to put most of their efforts. Betsy DeVos was one of them because most Americans believe that education should be equally accessible and equally resourced across the board, that we should not utilize government resources and pouring them all the way into charter schools or privatizing schools so that other kids can't get education. I have two godsons right now who are in a charter school. I am a product of 12 years of private school.
Basic level, yes, Democrats do not like what Betsy DeVos, her beliefs on public education. Right. That is for sure. So Republicans not happy about it. But it's going through, all signs point to. So was this a show overnight?
I don't think it was a show. I think it really is designed to say, listen, this is someone who challenges our core values about the education system in this country. And just because there are, for example, there are senators who are in very Republican-leaning states, they can't afford to take that vote. So that is the reality of it. That is what happens when you have a divided Senate. You might have, lip service in supportive of what you're trying to do, but you may not have the votes, and that's just the reality of the lay of the land.
So, Paris, at the very same time, it is unprecedented that the vice president has to break this tie. Two Republicans, they defected. It might be a vote. It might be a vote to confirm, but it's not exactly a vote of confidence for DeVos. So they had to bring in the VP to push her over the line.
Well, no, that's just the way the Constitution works. That's the way it works. The Senate, there is a tie. The vice president steps in, who's the president of the Senate, comes in to break the tie. But I can't think of any other vote. I can't think of any other time in history for the vice president to come in and say to the American people, but more specifically to the children and to the parents of America, this vote is important, this woman is important, and she stands for what I know you stand for, which is the changing, the revolution, the reforms that we need to make to our public education system. She's going to make them. This administration is committed to them, and that's why this is such an important vote. It's the vote for the children, and it's one that I think, to answer your previous question, it was unfortunate for the Democrats to play politics and just do theatrics because they know that this vote's going to happen and she's going to be confirmed. So the question is, why do it? It's just to have political theater and to raise moot points at this time because they know she's going to be confirmed and they are afraid, in my opinion, of the reforms that she's going to make to the public education system, which will totally dismantle the higher education lobby, the teachers' lobby, which the teachers' unions, which has controlled the public education system for far too long.
You know who had an interesting you say change is coming, Paris. You know what an interesting take on this, Angela, is David Milbank. He wrote a column today arguing that for Democrats, this is actually a good thing, and here is why, and it's an interesting logic. He wrote this in the piece. He said that the new administration's incompetence, these are his words, is their friend, Democrats' friend. His point is that for Democrats, if they think this is an unqualified nominee, an unqualified nominee is a cabinet secretary that won't get anything done. So is this good news for you?
No, I think that it's bad news for the country, and I couldn't disagree with Paris more on her being, revolution for the kids. Maybe revolution in a bad way, but I think that this isn't about the teachers' unions. This is about people. Sure, school choice is something that Republicans throw around all the time, but what does that really mean if you are defunding public schools so folks have to really research to determine whether or not the school around the corner from their home is good enough for their child, right? So I understand what Dana is saying, and with all due respect, I love him to death. I just don't think that having someone